In this video, we're going to take another look at Minitab, and this time we're going to be looking at the menus, at least some of the menus. We'll look at the File menu, the Edit menu, the Data menu, the Calc menu, and also at the Stats menu. We won't spend a lot of time in the Stats menu. That will come in the next part. So this is where we begin to use the Minitab capability to manipulate data and to do analyses. Let's exit the PowerPoint and go back to our desktop to retrieve the file that we had before. Recall that the file that we were using was our practice session, and it had some data in there that I had transported from an Excel file, just random data. I'll double click on the file, the project file, and here's the data that I have. You can see that it was opened the first time here. I said hi to the class. We have gotten the file from this particular location. And down here in the worksheet, we can see the data that's associated with what we're looking at. And there appear to be 30 observations. These are shoppers. And then something called page views. We can imagine that a retail operation that has a web presence would be interested in this kind of information. The first shopper went to 6 pages in the website. The fifth shopper went to 7 pages on the website, etc. We'll try to make some sense out of this data. So let's begin by looking, first of all, at the File menu. I'm going to go up here to File, bring down the File menu. This is where we open our files. This is where we save stuff. This is where a lot of the opening and closing events take place. Let's go to Edit. Edit, as you would imagine, is where we can edit the data and the worksheets that we have. Let's apply some edits. Let's cut some stuff and delete some stuff. There's a delete cells, and then there's a cut cells. Let's try that. First of all, let me grab some cells. Let's grab this set of cells. I'll go back to Edit, and I will cut them. And you can see they've been removed. What was 1, 2, 3, 4 has now been taken out, and the whole stack of data has moved up. I believe I can undo that step. I undid the cut. Delete. By the way, when I cut that and I place it on the clipboard. That's why I could return the data to where it was. The delete activity in Edit removes the data and it doesn't put it on the clipboard. So you're kind of out of luck. Let me try it for us here. I'm going to copy the data just with a Control-C. I'll move it over here, paste it here. Now let me try to delete and see if we can recover from a delete. Delete. 1, 2, 3, and 4 are gone. Those shoppers. Let's see if we can undo. We can't undo the delete, okay? Which is great. I'm going to get rid of this data that I copied just in case. That's always a good idea when you're going to do something and you don't know what the result's going to be. Always have a backup copy readily available to you. And of course, this is a worksheet you can do that with. So we've done the file, we've done the edit. Let's look at the data menu. The data menu is the next. And there are a couple of things that are important here. If we look at this, there's a lot of manipulation of worksheets, splitting a worksheet, subsets of worksheets. We won't work with that now, merging of worksheets. We're gonna look at a couple of things here. We're going to look at sort. It actually has a sort routine in it. And we're also going to look at conditional formatting. All right? And you know what conditional formatting is in Excel. That's when something meets a condition and something occurs, like a color might be turned on. So let's first of all sort our data. Let's go to Data, Sort. And it asks us, what's the first sort we want to do? I want to sort by page views. It doesn't make any sense to sort by shopper because that's just the chronological order of the shopper, the first, the second, the third, so on. So I place my cursor on page views, I hit select, and the first thing it's going to do is sort the entire data set by page views, the absolute value of the page view in an increasing fashion. And let's say I want to change that to decreasing. So I change it to decreasing. It says columns to sort. I want to sort all the columns. In other words, I want to associate the shopper with the sorted page views. And I want to place it at the end of the current worksheet. There are other options. I can put it in a new worksheet. I can put it over the original data, but I want to put it at the end current worksheet, which means it's probably going to get moved over here to column 3 and 4. So let's hit OK. And there we go. Here's the sorted data. So the largest number of page views was 12. We're going in a decreasing fashion from highest to lowest. There were 2 12s, there were 4 11s, there's 2 10s, there's a 9, there's 2 8s, so on and so forth. And let's see if the associated sorted shopper is as we expected. So a page view of 12, shopper 15. Let's see what shopper 15 over here in the original data had as page views. Yes, indeed, it was 12. So it sorted the data and associated the shopper with the page views. Now, let's do some conditional formatting. By the way, I can get rid of this if I want. I'm going to just grab it and hit the delete key and get rid of it. Let's do some conditional formatting in the data. I will go to conditional formatting in the data menu, and I want to say highlight a cell, and I'm going to select the highlight on the basis of greater than. Let's say I want page views. I select the data that I want to format. Format the cells that are greater than, let's say, 7. And then I want them not in red, but I want them in yellow. I hit OK. And you can see what's happened here as I scroll up and down. Anything greater than 7 now has a yellow color associated with it. This is great for a real quick access to data to see what values are. You know, we could have a massive amount of data. Here could be thousands, tens of thousands of cells of data, and we'd like to know which ones are larger than some value, 7 in this particular case, and it's highlighted with the yellow color. So that's our conditional formatting. Now let's go to the calculate key. A couple of important things here, and I'm going to focus on the calculator and on standardize. The first thing I'm going to do is use the calculator. A calculator allows us to take a current set of values. I've highlighted page views. I'm going to select it, and I'm going to write an expression. I want to change that data. Let's say that I want to add 5 to every number in the page views. So I'm going to take my page views is currently selected. My flashing cursor is here in the expression. I hit select. It says page views now, and I'm going to add 5. I hit OK, and what has happened is I've added 5 to every one of these numbers. It's a little difficult to see. Let me see if I can undo that change. I can't, unfortunately. See, there's where I should have copied the data. But I've added 5 units to all of these things. Well, I have an idea. Let's undo that. Let's go back to calculator, and then let's see if this works. No, that didn't. Calculator, page views, because it now views page views as a new page views. Let me subtract 5, see if that works. Yep, there we go. Now we're back to the original set of numbers that we had before. Sorry for the convoluted approach there, but we were able to recover our data. Now let's do some standardization. I'm going to go to Calc. I'm going to go to Standardize. I want to standardize the page views. I select it. Standardization is a way of taking data and dividing it by its standard deviation. In particular, this is what we have. There are many ways to standardize. We can subtract the mean. We can divide by the standard deviation. We can subtract the mean and divide by the standard deviation. Let's do the divide by standard deviation. And I want to store it. This time I want to store it in a particular column so I don't overwrite it to the column that I'm currently in. Let me store it in C3. So I write C3 there, column 3, and I hit OK. And here are the standardized values for the data based upon the calculations that we did. It's unimportant at this point to understand how we standardize, but we will later see in our study how to standardize and why we pick particular ways of standardizing versus others. The last thing I want to do is I want to go to the stats, to the stat menu and go to basic statistics. And there are two areas that I want to pursue here. There's the display descriptive statistics and graphical summary. Let's go to display descriptive statistics. Summarize your data with descriptive statistics such as the mean, standard deviation, and display them. So I'm going to hit this box. What I'm interested in is in my page views. I select it, and then I go to statistics to see if I've checked the statistics that I want. I want mean, something called a standard error. We don't need that at this point. We'll talk about it later. Standard deviation is a measure of variation of values in a distribution. The min, the max. Let's say we also want the sum of all those numbers. We want the first quartile, the median, the third quartile. These are things we'll all discuss later. And I hit OK, and OK again. And that result is provided to us here in the session. So there are 30 observations. There are no missing observations. The mean of the distribution of page views, or the average, is 6.7. Standard deviation is 3.45 or 0.5, 3.5 approximately. And then here are the other values that I requested. So this is a very good way to take a look at basic nature of the data. One last thing to do here. Let's look at basic statistics and the graphical summary. Page views again, select, hit OK, and I get a graph. Again, the same information that I got before, but now in graphical form. And then this graph is associated with this project. I can hit the reduction key, and it appears down here. You can see I can open it up again, and when I save my project, all the elements of the project go with it. So that's our first introduction to some of the basic menus in Minitab.